Okay, so the first case study was the winter party, and the first step is to identify the biases or inequities. So like, what did you guys all think about your bias, like that?
I think it was mostly between if it should be religion-based or culture-based. And, you know, Christmas is religiously based, but it's more culturally based. Like, it's getting to be more cultural than it is religious. And there was a big argument about, is it supposed to be religious-based or is it supposed to be just about the culture or whatever?
Yeah, I think one of the dads said like, oh, Christmas is an American thing, which is a little bit iffy because obviously America is like a melting pot and not everybody celebrates Christmas. So.
Yeah.
And like some of them like expressed their biases and others didn't and stuff like that to where they were at. But the second step is to take stock of various perspectives. From like the people who wanted the different religious activities like Mr. Olson and stuff like that, he might have like thought that, oh, these activities could like expose like the students to like other cultures and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that they did a good job of trying to be like, oh, then we'll include all of these religious holidays, but
But then like Mrs. Tate, like her like perspective from the school side of it was just like to keep it very neutral and inclusive
and that's
with
why it's
everyone.
called a winter party, not a holiday party.
And then the third step is to consider possible challenges and opportunities.
I think a challenge would be some parents don't want to talk about their own like religious views out personally because they feel like they're gonna be judged.
Right.
And that can create a divide between the parents and like which would end up like harming the students more in general. But and then some opportunities that I just thought was that like again the students would be exposed to different things.
Right. Yeah. That's right.
But the fourth step is to imagine equitable and just outcomes.
So sorry, go ahead.
Yo, you go.
I don't know what I was gonna say. So.
Okay. I just said something like, if it's kept like a strict winter party, then like they know that there's gonna be no future like challenges if they like did something wrong or like
or if they come up with the activities now and just keep them the same from year to year, then they're 100% sure that they're doing the right
I remember about keeping like the religions and not really specific religions, but like Christmas and like everything else, you know, in it, but also having a table where they could like teach about their own. So if it wasn't already covered, they could introduce that.
Right, and then it expose kids to other cultures other than just Christmas.
Yeah.
It could not like religions, but it could expose it more culturally.
The fifth step is to brainstorm immediate term solutions. One that I thought was just like get the principal to come to the meeting. Or like
exactly. Or
ask the principal again because in the end like it's gonna be him that's deciding or like
He'll say yes or no to it.
Exactly.
And then the sixth step is to brainstorm long-term solutions.
I like the idea of like keeping all the activities the same year to year.
Yeah.
Like doing the hard part now and then keeping the activities the same year to year.
So like just like creating like kind of like a policy or whatever of or like strict plan of like how it's gonna be. And then the last step is to craft a plan of action. One other thing that like I thought of was just instead of having like a parents meeting with like all the parents, have like the parents do that, but then have one parent bring it to the school then.
Or the school board and have a discussion and have them be representative.
Exactly.
Instead
and then
of
they
like
just plan
all
it like
these
that.
people meeting together, it's less people to have to worry about.
I agree. Okay.
I also think an anonymous poll would help too.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Feel less
So then they don't
ostracized.
they don't have to talk about it in person. They can do it anonymously and remotely.
Okay, so then the step we looked at was Diverse Friends Day. So the first step is to identify biases or inequities.
It's very obvious. I don't think he means any wrong by it, but it's very obvious.
One bias that like from Mr. Carbondale is just that he already assumes that because of their races that they don't like interact with each other.
Exactly.
Where like you should just assume that because of that. And then like from like Pam and like all of their perspectives and stuff like that, like they just think they don't like want more unwanted attention.
Because that's all it's gonna create.
It's just more like bad attention for them and not anything.
Plus, I think he was more worried about like the race, where he should have been thinking more of like income status, because a lot of the colored people are lower income, and he wasn't looking at just the income too. He was just looking at the skin color, and that could have nothing to do with it. It could be just like
Right, there's a lot of different diversities other than
right.
this.
It's not just the skin color; it's also income, it's how they're raised, and all that stuff.
The second step is to take stock of various perspectives. Honestly, like one of the biggest ones that I just noticed was like Pam's perspective, and just like how she thought that this day was more to benefit and expose the white students to like different like races.
Well, when she said it, like this diverse Friends Day was very racist, I never thought about it like that. Once she said it, I realized, oh, this is really racist without actually meaning to be. It just happens to be.
The third step is to consider possible challenges and opportunities. So like challenges is just like getting the students to actually participate in a way that's not going to cause problems in the future for all of them.
An opportunity would be like they actually do it. If they actually could do it, they'd actually make friends with other people. But I think the biggest challenge would be getting them to participate.
And then the fourth step is to imagine equitable and just outcomes. Honestly, just like for me, I just thought that they should, like if they go through with Diverse Friends Day, but then like find a way to make it more inclusive for everyone.
It's
and
not
just different activities and stuff like that includes everyone and like their
Or maybe they shouldn't make it like a day. Maybe they should just make it like a try to like include everyone and not like let them be like in their own groups. Try to include them, not make it just one day, but like a whole year or whatever.
The fifth step is to brainstorm immediate term solutions. I think that like Mr. Carbondale can just like make it an inclusive day and like not force people to like associate with each other based on like their different races, but just like if they associate with each other like normally or not. Just
or,
like
ask the students, like, what do you think? Because if the students don't want to participate, it's not going to become a Diverse Friends Day. It's just going to be like, oh, you have to cancel with your friends today.
You could base it on like interests instead, and like other people will engage more in that than if I think like I'm coming to meet with you because I'm different than you.
Right.
It'd be more effective.
And then the sixth one is to brainstorm long-term solutions. I've just thought that like instead of like making a whole day out of it, like why doesn't he just like incorporate it through his like daily like lessons?
It doesn't have to be just a day. It can be throughout every day.
Right.
And then the seventh plan is to craft a plan of action, or seventh step. I think that the biggest issue is like the name, like Diverse Friends Day.
I think that makes it seem more
like it could just be something simple, just like New Friends Day or
inclusivity or
something like that. But Diverse Friends Day, like that's just like the first issue. I think.
Obviously,
and I think that turns people off the second that they read that.
Exactly.
They're like, oh, I don't want to be a part of that.
And then just to like incorporate it into daily lessons instead of making it a whole big event that just brings attention to things that like don't need the attention.
Right.
But the third one is going over like the family night. The first step is to identify bias or inequities. There is definitely a bias between like the ELL families and then the families like who like arrived early and stuff like that. Like they were kind of biased against each other, I thought, and then
immediately separated themselves. There was no necessity to like make them separate. They just didn't separate each other.
And then another bias was just like the teachers were like
immediately assuming.
They were like biased more against like the ELL families because of like
oh, of course they were late. Of course they're talking through this. Like
they weren't open to them fitting in.
Exactly.
The second step is to take stock of various perspectives. Like the families who arrived like late, like the ELL families, I think that one perspective that they had was just that like they didn't feel welcomed.
Right.
But
we can totally leave if they need us to leave. You can open the door.
Do you guys have class in
I
here?
just wanted us to let you know that class is over.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So
we're just finishing up our thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll be out in like 2 minutes if you want to wait. Sorry.
You know what? That's gonna stay in there. I hope you really like that.
So yeah, I was just like saying about the like they just were probably intimidated by the other families because like they already like separated.
Well, in
themselves.
other cultures too, school get-togethers are not a thing.
Right.
So I think they were kind of confused on what was going on, especially if they don't understand the language. They don't
Mhm.
understand exactly what
Yeah.
is going on, and that's why they were late because they just didn't
Yeah.
understand
Right.
what was going on.
Yeah, that's something I had said too, that was like culturally not, like in the US, being on time is really, really important.
Versus
And there are
everywhere
other
else
cultures,
it's
it's
not.
like, if you're 15 minutes late and you're talking and they probably assumed, oh, it's a meal, so we can,
Right.
yeah,
chit-chat
like it's not very
and-
formal.
right, they
Yeah.
assumed it was less formal, and I don't think that was communicated to them
Mm-hmm.
based on.
I heard something about people in Japan, they view America as like a really like tacky and late country because everything they do is like on time.
Mhm.
And so a lot of my Japanese friends say that like we're always late, you know? And so seeing that perspective, because I don't know anything else,
Yeah.
Right.
was just interesting.
Yeah.
The third step is to consider possible challenges and opportunities.
Obviously, the language barrier
Right.
Yeah,
is a
that's
challenge.
The
Right.
biggest challenge.
And then
yeah.
they don't want to. I feel like the ELL families don't want to talk to the other families because they don't.
like they're
Accept them.
If you can't-
intimidated and
right.
they don't feel welcome.
If you can't understand, then you,
Yeah. We're just recording really quickly for our Flipgrid, and then
Oh.
we had worked on our lesson plan for a little while, and then we were recording for our Flipgrid really quickly.
I just wanted to know that you're good.
yeah, we're good.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are
Alright.
good, thank
Have a
you.
good
Thank
one.
you so much.
Yeah.
Wait, I had one question quick. So for class on both Wednesday and Friday, are we gonna be like working on our lessons plan, like our lesson plans with our groups, or what is that gonna consist of?
I'm gonna have some material that I'll have to go through.
Okay.
because
Okay.
I'm shifting around stuff though.
Yeah,
Right.
to like make this.
So
So
we'll have to find our own time to work on our lesson plan still.
Alright, you'll need to. I'll give a little time, but not all the time.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you
Alright.
so much, we really
Yeah,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Have a good one.
Yeah,
as
you
well.
too.
Leave that in there.
Yeah, I'm leaving that in there too.
So then where were we? Oh, challenges. Just that.
Yeah,
The language barrier and stuff. That's definitely the biggest challenge, and just to like make everyone feel welcome.
I think some opportunities would be like, I think that it said in there that they only sent out like a newsletter in their preferred, or in their first language.
Mhm.
It would be a lot easier to continue to teach those languages in schools and things like that,
Exactly.
instead of just sending out like a single piece of paper with
Yeah.
something they can read on it, because that's not necessarily gonna get your point across.
Yeah, I agree.
Also
The
with
four.
like getting home, like
Yeah,
a lot of, it's just kind of like how it is, like a lot of white students, you know, like they have a ride to get home and like
Mhm.
they have a job maybe to go to and
Yep.
what they have more structure usually, but some of those lower income or like minority groups, they have not a lot of structure, so that one piece of paper,
it might not be doing
it
much.
might not even get home.
Exactly.
Mhm. So like maybe like an email or something that would be a
Yeah.
lot more efficient.
Newsletter and email, like multiple
Yeah.
reminders.
And like doing it not just like once, but like
Yeah.
consistently.
Yep.
But okay, the fourth step is to imagine equitable and just outcomes. Honestly, I think a good outcome is just like get rid of the language. Like obviously there is a language barrier, but just like stop the separation because of it, or just like
And try to get those families to reach out to one another
Exactly,
somehow.
So, yeah.
The fifth step is to brainstorm immediate term solutions. I'd say just like create a more comfortable and welcoming environment
Yep.
for everyone.
Yeah.
And communicating a
Well,
lot.
the
Yeah.
teacher could also introduce one family to another family, like,
And be like, here's what you have in common, both your kids play soccer.
and
Yeah,
like
so
be the
yeah,
middle,
yeah.
be that middle person, because otherwise they're not gonna feel comfortable enough to.
Exactly, and like the
Go.
parents might not
Yeah.
know similarities between
Yeah.
like their student and another student.
Yeah.
Or like their kid. Brainstorm long-term solutions is the sixth step. I would just say like communication is a huge thing.
Yeah.
With like students, so like even between like students and like students and like their parents, and then but like even teachers and parents.
Yeah.
Just to, like consistently communicate.
Yep, which I think was probably an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last step is to craft a plan of action.
If they do this again, they definitely need to send out more flyers, more emails,
Mhm.
send more stuff home instead of just the one.
Exactly, and like maybe have more like activities to make like the different like
Right, not just
families
a
interact with
meal,
each other.
not just like a
Right.
meal and a meeting, like actually like activities or like,
And like understand their cultural differences, and so
Exactly.
not being like, okay, here's our set time schedule, be like, okay, yep, it's gonna be really casual and there is gonna be a meal, but you're just gonna walk around and chit chat. There's no formal meeting
Yeah.
afterwards.
Or
something like
you need to make sure that the families who do speak like English first,
Mhm.
they have to be the ones to go up to the other people because they're gonna feel too intimidated. They're gonna feel too scared.
Exactly.
You need
yeah.
to make sure like they know that they probably need to be the first ones.
Right,
Otherwise,
because
they're
they
not
are
going
the
to.
majority.
Well, then they're
so-
gonna make the other people feel inferior, right?
Oh yeah, I
So
guess
that's-
Oh,
that's,
that's
true.
true.
Like, I think finding a good happy
so
medium,
hard.
because like
Yeah.
you want the group in the majority to be like, oh, please be a part of this. Like you feel ostracized. We want you to feel like you're
Yeah.
a part of our group. But yeah, then you don't want them to feel like you're being like, hi, welcome, and like being
Right,
Like,
that's true.
condescending.
They're trying
yeah.
to like welcome you, but like you know
You have
that
to go
there's
about it in
still
a very
difference.
nice way.
Yeah.
It's
And I
can't-
just feel like everyone has to put effort for it, like
Yeah.
towards it too.